Hey viewers, welcome back to another one. So today I've got a video about AP, acid peroxide. I'm actually filming this rather differently, back to front. I had a batch of AP which needed to be processed, and I figured, well, while I'm doing that, I might as well do a video. So I've demonstrated how to process it first, and now I'm going to film how to start it, and I'll edit it so it's proper. But to see, when you see two different batches, you think, hang on, that's not what he processed, you'll know why. So to start with, here are a whole pile of pins, and they take forever to get the pins out of, and they're hard to get the pins out of, and there's solder all over them, and it would just be a nightmare. And I've got another box here as well, all kinds of pins, and they just take forever. And the worst thing is, most of the pin is metal, and then just tip a little bit of gold on the tips, and it's a waste of time pulling them out, going for hours trying to get these out, and they're a nightmare to do. It's so much easier just to put these into AP, forget about it. A few weeks later, come back, all the steel has dissolved, and there'll be gold everywhere. So this is what I'm going to process, all this here. So we'll go outside and I'll show you. What I've got here is a fish bubbler, fish pump, air pump, whatever you want to call it. You can see it's stained from being used before. I've got a large tub here because I often do large mixes. So what I do is I lay the pipe down so that it's in the middle at the bottom. So if you can see that, even if I tuck it into the corner a bit, it doesn't really matter, as long as that's good right there. So I'm just going to pile all these in. There's no water, just pile them in. Like that. And you can see there's some of these have got nice, I can see there's nice gold on there, and some of them are mostly steel. Now I actually reuse my AP over and over and over, but for the sake of it, for the start of it, I'm going to show you guys how to set it up. I'm just going to mix up a small amount, and then I'm going to top it up with all my old AP. I just want to show you guys how to mix it, because there's some people out there that say you need ridiculous amounts of stuff that you don't need. So just let me get a beaker sorted. I'm just going to use a little beaker. I'm just going to mix up a small amount and show you. So we'll put the lid on here for now. Actually, that's not empty. Alright, now normally what you would do is you would put hydrochloric acid into the container to cover all the whatever you're doing, boards, pins, whatever. You would normally put enough hydrochloric acid in to completely cover what you're doing. But because I'm going to fill mine up with the old AP, I'm going to mix just a small amount to show you, and I'm going to put that in there, and it won't hurt. If anything, it will recharge my AP. From occasion, when you're using your AP over and over, occasionally just make a small amount, even just throw a bit of hydrochloric acid in there just to recharge it. So pretend that I'm starting a whole new batch. I'll just do it in this beaker and put some HCl in there. I don't need to completely fill up the bucket. I've got 40 litres here of old AP, and the more you use AP, the better it gets. So now this is just 3% peroxide. You buy it at the chemist. It's in your first aid kit. It's not bad. It's not bad for your hands or anything. I put it on open wounds. So it's not bad for you. And this is how much you would need, even if you filled this container with hydrochloric acid. That's all you need. Don't let these people tell you you need 100 mils or a litre or half a litre. They're talking out their bum. That's all you need. All that does is it starts the process. Now what you want is for the hydrochloric acid to consume copper. Copper is in circuit boards, usually underneath the solder mask. And as it's destroying your boards, it consumes the copper, and it's the copper and hydrochloric acid that does the job. So the more you use it, the more copper it absorbs, the better it gets. Okay, now there's no copper in this, it's only steel pins, so if you're not going to throw any circuit boards in there, it might pay just to put a tiny bit more, but really you don't need a whole lot. These videos that say you need half a litre or something, talking out their bum. So I'll throw this in and I'll top it up with my old AP. Some of you probably say I should have gloves on. Well, no reason to get my hands anywhere near the acid. I'm going to pour the opposite way to my hands, so it shouldn't get on there. I'm just going to keep topping this up so it covers all the pins. I like to get it to the point where it pours nicely. It's hard to do. There we go. Just let it pouring. There we go. Don't panic if it gets on your bricks. Hydrochloric acid is used for cleaning bricks. I'll just squirt that down with a hose, it'll be fine. And make sure it's completely covered. Even a little bit over is fine. And I'll leave it at that. And then from time to time, as you're processing stuff, you might find something else that you want to throw in. It's fine, just chuck it in. I'll put this aside for next time. If I end up putting more stuff in and I need to top it up, I can. I'll plug the air pump in and I'll put the lid on. And now forget about it. Just totally forget about it for at least 3 weeks. The longer the better. If you came back to it in 2 or 3 weeks, most of the pins would have gone. You wait a month or so and they'll all be gone. And you'll see in the later half of this video, everything was consumed by the AP mix that I did have going. So now I'm going to move this into position where I normally have it, plug the air bubbler on, and just let it go for another month. So for now, that's the end of this part, and on to the section where I treated the batch that was ready to go. So what I do is I don't want to water down this solution. I don't want to dilute it in any way, because I will be reusing the solution. The more you reuse it, the better it gets. I've got an old hydrochloric acid bottle here, a filter on top. Now this is the best filter I've ever made, and I've had this in my last few videos. It's a brewer's bag. You can get these types of things from all over the place. You can see already how much gold it's caught. I've only started pouring from where this line is, there, from there down to here so far, and it's already caught that much gold. Most of it's going to be at the bottom. I've got a bucket over here, and when I start reaching boards, when I start running out of liquid, when I'm not able to pick any more liquid up, like now it's starting to touch boards, I pick the boards out, I put them in this container here, and then I'm going to squirt them down with a squirt bottle, and any gold that falls off will also be caught. And then that can go into my stock pot. I don't want to dilute this. So what it's doing is I'm siphoning, or not siphoning, I'm filtering it back into a hydrochloric bottle, which I will save, and the next time I need AP, I've got it made up already. Occasionally I just recharge it with a bit more HCl. But this is the 3rd time I've used this now, and it's still working fine. So I just pour with this jug into the filter. So even up at this level, at the top of the mix, I'm getting gold, as you can see. I reach down in there, get a full jug, or as best I can. It'll almost be time to pull some more boards out. I had 20 litres in this big tub. Over 20 litres of AP, and I just keep filtering it like this. When I get close to the bottom, I'll check to make sure this tub's not full and it's not going to overflow on me, but it shouldn't even be halfway yet. I might have to call it a day soon. The mozzies are out. Mosquitoes, for those in other countries who don't know what a mozzie is. So yeah, I just keep doing that. I can see some boards there, so I'll reach in and grab those. Make sure you use gloves, guys. You don't want this sort of stuff on your hands. I mean, it might not burn you, but it's just always use gloves when you're around acids. Even if your hand gets stained for a week, it's not nice you go around with multicoloured hands. But for safety's sake, just use gloves. I've got all kinds of things in here. I've got boards, I've got plugs, I've got pins, all manner of things. And the AP eventually dissolves all the steel from pins. I've had plugs that are too hard to separate, too hard to get off the board even with a heat gun. And I don't want to use an air chisel because these plugs were gold all the way through the board. And if you use an air chisel, you're going to shear off the pins and miss half the gold. So I've just put them in there, plugs and boards, all the same thing, all in there. And as you can see, not one of these boards has got any plugs on it. The plugs are here on my hand, but they're all loose. They've all been dissolved, the metal's been dissolved. They've come away from the board. Yeah, I can't reach any more just yet, so now it's time to start scooping again. And I'll just go like this until I get to the bottom. There's a nice bit of gold in there already. I can't believe it, just from the very start of it. I expected lumps of gold like that when I get to the bottom. You know, I've had this AP going for easy month, maybe even 6 weeks. You don't normally need it that long. Usually 2 weeks is fine. But the best thing about AP is you just set and forget. You know, if you're in a hurry, AP is not for you. AP is good for when you just want to put it in there, leave it, forget about it, come back someday and it's all done for you. I've got so many things that I've got to process. I've got hundreds of computers and all kinds of things to do. So I was in no rush for this. It's just not a fast thing, AP. It's definitely one for people with patience. But yeah, it's quite a bit of gold getting caught. I am going to call it a day because the mosquitoes are biting me all over. When I get to the bottom, it should look really nice. There should be all sorts of goodies in there. So I'll put the lid back on for now. I'll fill this up with a bit of water so the boards don't dry out, and hopefully so the gold doesn't dry onto it and make it hard. I'll just squirt them all down now with a hose, and I'll come out tomorrow and do some more. I'll put the lid on this bottle. I've already got some AP here. I've already got some gold powder here, which I'm in the process of washing. I'm going to put that gold powder into there. Any gold that I get from here, I'm going to put into there. I don't want to just unnecessarily use acids. I've already got the acid going, I might as well use it. And all I've got to do is just keep topping up tiny, tiny bits of nitric, and I'll be able to dissolve all of this rather than make new batches. I like to keep acids where I can, or recycle acids where I can, just like with the AP. Alright, so I'll come back to you when I do this again next time. I've finished taking all the boards out of the AP, and I've drained all the AP through the filter, and I've now put what's caught in the filter into some AR. Now this is just the rinse bucket where I was taking things out of the AP bucket and putting them into here because I didn't want to water down the AP. The AP is now filtered into those two containers, ready for use next time. So there's no gold in that AP at all. Well, if there is, it must be tiny to get through the little mesh I had. Now, the best thing with these, I've had these in here for, like I said, over a month or more. And really only 2 weeks is enough, but because they're in there for so long, all the boards just come out spotless. Nothing on them, not a pin, not a spheric of gold, nothing. Occasionally there might be one or two that have a bit of gold on them, but they're just spotless, every one of them. All the pins are gone. And the pins are dissolved, they're not down the bottom, they're all dissolved. There are some plugs like this, and there's no gold inside them. Inside, totally clean. Everything that comes out so far is clean. When you get towards the bottom, there's bound to be some things that have gold on them because they've been sitting in the gold at the bottom, but it's not stuck to them. A quick squirt with the squirt bottle here and gets it off. But so far, just moving around in this water, they're coming up clean. That there, it looks like gold in the middle, but it's not. It's just yellow board. It's not gold. I know on the camera, I'm looking through the camera and it's showing up as gold, but it's not. In real life, I can see it's just a fiberglass. It's got a greeny colour. And I've taken a lot of boards out. Every one of them coming out like this, all clean. Nothing on them. No gold anywhere. And each one of those little circles used to have gold on it. So it's coming up perfect. There's only water in here. I was sure it might have a tiny bit of acid in there, but it's so watered down. The only reason I don't have gloves on, I had gloves on. You can see, well, you probably can't now, but I had gloves on, and they're useless. A slight little bit of the corner of the boards, for instance, hook onto them, pierce them, and the AP was getting into my hands. So I've finished the AP now, and it's just water. Diluted down water's not going to hurt. So, and I've even got a cut on my finger right there, and I'd know if it was stinging. There's nothing getting in there stinging, it's just water. So look how clean these are coming up. There's nothing on them at all. I love AP, apart from the fact that it takes so long. Just dissolves every bit of the pins. And so for the pins that are hard to do, this is the best option. Just take any metal framework off the pins. I can see a tiny bit of gold in front of my finger there, my thumb. Just give that a rinse. Gone. Let's check these pins while I'm at it, these plugs. Yeah, they're all clean. So all that's in here now is like loads of plugs. I'll check them individually. And the odd board, most of the boards are out, and every one of these is spotless. It's the best. There's not really a lot of handling of acids if people are concerned about starting out with acids. This is a better way to go. You just put them in and forget about it. Come back to it a few weeks later. When I get to the bottom of this, there's going to be so much gold in there because I've rinsed off the filter in here a few times, except for the last time when I had a big batch. When I poured all that AP out into the filter had trouble draining because it was just clogged full of gold. So I'll just show you one thing. I'll throw the rest of this in the bin, but I'll keep one thing in my hand. This looks like it was an IC chip. I don't know. And I'm just trying to get it in my hand. Hang on a second. That looks like the circuit die with gold around it. So that'll be getting put aside, and that'll go through my next batch when I burn ICs or BGAs. Definitely keep that. I don't know how that slipped through. But these boards totally clean. And the plug clean. No pins, nothing. The pins have all totally dissolved. I can't wait to see how much gold's at the bottom of this. I'll check it. I know that these are going to be clean, but I'll check them individually because they might have just picked up some gold that was floating in the water. Now those little spots, they're going to need to be sprayed. They might be gold. So it's the first one that I've picked up that needs to be cleaned. Yeah, these are all clean. So I'm not going to do this for the next hour or so because you'll get bored in tears, but I'll come back later and show you how it's going. That's definitely clean. That's not gold. That's just the yellow fibre board. Same with this one. There's no gold on that. So I'll keep going with this, and when I get to the bottom I'll show you all the gold that's in the bottom. Okay, so I've reached the bottom. I've taken out all the boards and most of the pins and plugs and stuff. But because I even left the resistors and capacitors and everything on these boards. It's going to be hard to show you the gold because if I reach into the corner, you can see all the capacitors and everything. So the gold's amongst it. It's not going to do any harm having all that stuff in the AR. So I've got no choice but to just filter it and put all that stuff into AR. Any gold that's amongst it will get dissolved, and then I can filter those out. That's not a problem at all. I was going to let this water settle, decant it and show you the gold, but like I said, if I reach right in, scrape it all into one corner, and there would be a lot in there. I know there's a lot because I've washed the filter off in here. You're just going to see that every time. So most of it, the gold, I have actually put into the AR already because it was all caught in the mesh filter. Now while I was picking through this stuff, that's all what I have picked up in my hands, I was actually surprised. I found quite a lot of those things. Now these are obviously some sort of IC chip. They might not have been visible as an IC chip while they're on the boards. Now if you can see, there's a circuit die in the middle and there's gold brazing around the IC chip, which is what it's like inside IC chips. So I'm going to have to break those, put them through crushing, like in burning them and crushing them like I do with the rest of the ICs. And I even found this, which was part of a camera. It's not going to show up now. The gold was quite visible before. I can see it when I look at it. There's gold around the edges of it, and you can see the shiny appearance, which is what stopped the acid getting to it. So that will also get burnt. So there's quite a few of these things. This is a bigger one. You might be able to see the gold better. See the gold in there? It's gold brazing, so that's even better than plating. There's a lot more gold in brazing than there is in plating. So I hope I haven't thrown any out. These are the ones that I've seen, and I've been keeping an eye out since that first one I pulled out, but before that I don't know. And I really can't be bothered going through all this to look for any more. So I don't know what these looked like originally. I wish I knew. But the reason why all these plugs and everything are in the mix is because these were really old boards, really old ones. And the pins went right the way through the board and soldered to the other side, whereas these days they're just soldered to the surface of the board. And I tried everything, a heat gun. I had to try and pull them, like heat them with the heat gun and then use the heat gun to pry them off. And all that was happening was they were crumbling into pieces. I tried using a chisel and they just smashed to pieces and fly everywhere. It was just so much easier to put them in the AP and let it do its work. And that's why there's so much stuff down the bottom that I would normally never put into AP, just to make it a cleaner batch, not because of any other reason. But like I said, these boards were so hard to depopulate, and the time it would take, the effort it would take, it's not worth it when you can stick them in here and let the AP do the job. And you can see some specks of gold on my hand here, so I've got to squirt my hand off. And then let this drain a bit, scoop some water out, and then filter it and throw that in with the AR that's up on the stove now. So this is pretty much the result, and you've seen how it starts. It's really an easy thing to do, so you guys should certainly be able to do it. If you're new at this, it's probably the best way to start if you're new at gold recovery. It's foolproof. You just set it and walk away. Come back a few weeks later. As long as your technique now of filtering is good, you shouldn't have a problem. So, let me know how your mixes go. I'd like to see, if you guys are having any problems, tell me. If you have a success, I'd like to see or hear from you. So for now, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.